Fast Venture back with another video. I picked up this copper wire recently, and what I figured I'd go through today is just doing a quick annealing. And I kind of had an idea to actually add some texture to this. I'm going to hammer it down on this giant screw I actually found at a Habitat for Humanity restore. And I think it'll add nice little cool wave to just your simple stock here. I'm not sure if I'll do it to this, but I might experiment to see what it'll do. And I'm just gonna hammer it with a nice smooth hammer. And over here, I've got this hooked up to just your standard giant barbecue propane thingamajig. And so yeah, this is just what I'm gonna use to anneal it. You can just use your standard, that blue bottle you can get from Home Depot. Those work just fine. That should soften up the metal, in case you don't know what annealing is. Not to be condescending. But yeah, so that should soften it up. That should be able to take the texture much easier than me having to hammer into it on, with my railroad and my big old heavy hammers. Something that shouldn't even be necessary in this case. So we're going to see what it should do. Quick, I'll just take you through the process of how annealing works. And basically you just take this, butane burns really hot, and with the copper rod here, it'll actually change from a coppery color, of course, to dull gray, and I believe that's when it's finally reached its annealing temperature. And you can quench it at that point in water. That's a little sketchy. Typically I would just let it air dry, or air cool. And yeah, that should soften it up quite a bit. And from what I understand, in order to re-harden it, I forget the actual name, but you can work harden it, which copper's kind of weird. In order to stiffen it right back up, you can just beat on it for a little bit, and that'll re-harden up the metal. So that's what I'll do now. So when you start seeing that rainbow effect, you're pretty well good. Alright, I'm going to take this indoors and so I can get away from the wind and get this all finished up. I think I've got everything annealed to at least some extent. From what I'm looking at this, I made it a little too rainbowy, if you can kind of see there. It should all just be one color, a little more like this section here. But, I don't know, well, it should be a little bit softer. We'll see what we can do. And just wanted to show you the difference on definitely annealed versus completely raw and normal. Huge difference. Let's see what we can do. First, let's see how soft it is. Yeah, pretty soft. Let's see if it'll take a texture. Try to figure out a better way to do this. Maybe work. Straight. Ah, how do I trying to work? It's kind of doing some stuff, but yeah, I'm gonna have to find a way to clamp this down onto here so I can get you know, something that's not gonna fall off every time I hit it. I'm gonna try to give it one good whack to see what the pattern looks like. Oh yeah. Let's see if that comes up. Kind of get a pattern on there. Maybe we can try it a few more times. I'd say that's working pretty well. Now to try to figure out a way to attach that and make it more permanent. Alright, well unfortunately I haven't found a way to get the screw really attached to my track too well, so I'm going to have to come up with another idea. But for now what I'm going to do is I actually have these old hammerheads, which I do actually need to make handles for, and the goal is that I got this one from the dollar store forever ago and the handle immediately broke. So my thought is that if I make a handle for this, I'll be able to at that point more or less mimic exactly what's going on here, this pattern. And my idea is just to actually just cut vertical stripes into this, and so that way I don't have to have anything strapped down. I can just hammer away here. So I figure I'll do that on the next video. So until next time, this has been Vash Venture.